Good morning, readers. Today before we start our lesson, please clear your desk and get your listening ears ready. At the end of last session, we talked about what a prediction is. Who can tell me what a prediction is? Good. It's what someone thinks will happen next. As a class today, we are going to learn how to ask and answer questions about the story before, during, and after the reading, and that will help us make predictions. There are some terms that we need to talk about to be a successful reader today. Some of those terms are runt, patient, and capture. Who can tell me what a runt is? Good. It's an animal that is smaller than average. Who can tell me what patient means? Good. It's able to accept or tolerate delays. And who can tell me what capture is? Good. That's taken to one's possession and control over by force. Take a look at this cover of the book. What is the book called? Good, it's Charlotte's Web. What do we think is going to happen based off the picture? You don't know? Well, let's start reading. I'm going to read the first two paragraphs and you will listen. Chapter 1, Before Breakfast. "Where's Papa going with the axe?" said Fern to her mother as they were setting the table for breakfast. "Out to the hog house," replied Miss Arabelle. "Some pigs were born last night. I don't see why he needs the axe," continued Fern, who was only 8 years old. "Well," said her mother, "one of the pigs is a runt. It's very small and weak and will never amount to anything. So your father has decided to go away with it." What is happening in the book so far? Good job. That's a good prediction. I'm going to continue reading, and as I read, I'm going to answer the questions that I have written on the board. Please follow along in the books provided. "Do away with it," shrieked Fern. "You mean kill it? Just because it's smaller than the others?" Miss Arabelle put a pitcher of cream on the table. "Don't yell, Fern," she said. "Your father is right. The pig would probably die anyway." Fern pushed a chair out of the way and ran outdoors. The grass was wet and the earth smelled of springtime. Fern's sneakers were sopping by the time she caught up with her father. All right, the first question is, what do you think will happen next? Any predictions of what you think will happen next? You think the pig is going to die? All right, let's write that down. Oh, the marker isn't working. Okay, let's continue reading. "Please don't kill it," she sobbed. "It's unfair." Mr. Arabelle stopped walking. "Fern," he said gently, "you'll have to learn to control yourself." "Control myself," yelled Fern. "This is a matter of life and death you're talking about. Controlling myself." Tears ran down her cheeks, and she took hold of the axe and tried to pull it out of her father's hand. "Fern," said Mr. Arabelle, "I know more about raising a litter of pigs than you do. A weakling makes trouble, now run along." "But it's unfair," cried Fern. "The pig couldn't help being born small, could it? If I had been very small at birth, would you have killed me?" Mr. Arabelle smiled. "Certainly not," he said, looking down at his daughter with love. "This is different. A little girl is one thing, a little runty pig is another." "I see no difference," replied Fern, still hanging on to the axe. "This is the most terrible case of injustice I've ever heard of." A queer look came over John's face. He seemed almost ready to cry himself. "All right," he said, "you go back to the house and I will bring the runt when I come in. I'll let you start it on a bottle like a baby, then you'll see what trouble a pig can be." So question 2 is, why do you think Fern is upset? Good. She compared herself to the to the runt as if she was little just like it. What do you think the runt will do? That's a good observation. We don't have enough information yet to decide what the runt will do. So I'm going to put this one in a box, and this is what you're going to work on with your partner next. today we practiced asking and answering questions while we read Charlotte's Web. With 3 questions we wrote down, we decided what could happen next. On your own, in your journal, I'm going to have you write down 3 questions that you think could help come to one big prediction at the end. Continue reading with your 2 chapters in this book, and we will break at the very end. For your exit ticket today, I want you to write down these 4 questions. What did we learn? What did I learn? What was interesting? And what questions do I have? That very last question is important, so I know what we can work on for tomorrow. Good job today.